For most of human history, the other side of the world wasn't a destination. It was a rumor. To cross an ocean meant weeks, sometimes months. You packed not for a trip. You packed for a life. Many who left never came back. Letters took months. News arrived as history. Then, in barely a century, everything changed. We learned to fly.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on board this Turkish Airlines flight. We would like to draw your attention to the safety information you need to follow during this flight. Please.
And the world folded in half. Lagos to London, 6 hours. Tokyo to New York, 13. Sydney to Santiago, a single sleep. Distances that once swallowed entire lifetimes collapsed into a meal, a movie, a nap. We didn't just invent a machine. We built a nervous system for the planet. Think about what flight actually did. Before aviation, continents were civilizations apart. Trade moved at the speed of wind and current. Culture exchanged over decades, not weekends. Flight didn't just shrink distance, it collapsed centuries. But here's what flight really collapsed. Not just distance, cost, access, possibility. Before aviation, crossing an ocean was reserved for the wealthy, the desperate, or the wildly adventurous. It was a decision that changed your life, because it was often one way. Now, a student books a flight between semesters. A grandmother crosses time zones to hold her grandchild. A tourist decides on a Thursday to be somewhere entirely different by Saturday. What was once the privilege of the few became the routine of millions. A student from Lagos studies in London. A surgeon from Seoul operates in Chicago. Spices from Kerala sit in kitchens in Copenhagen. A grandmother in Manila video calls her grandchild, then flies to hold her.
Uçağı terk ederken hızlı tahliyeyi sağlamak için el bagajınızı
This is the connection revolution, as transformative as the railroad, as the printing press, as the telegraph. Except this one erased oceans, tourism, trade, migration, love stories that cross hemispheres, families held together across 10,000 kilometers. None of it was possible before. None of it. Now, let's talk about the fear. Turbulence. That moment the cabin shakes and your stomach drops, and every ancient instinct says, "This is wrong. We don't belong here." But here's the thing. That instinct, it's lying to you. A modern commercial aircraft wing can flex up to 7.5 meters at its tip before it's even close to its limit. Engineers didn't just build planes to fly, they built them to survive conditions far beyond anything you'll ever experience in a seat. Turbulence isn't the plane struggling. It's the plane doing exactly what it was designed to do: absorb, flex, and keep moving. Think about what's actually keeping you in the air. Not magic, not luck. Bernoulli's principle? The same physics that has been understood for centuries. Air moving faster over a curved wing creates lower pressure on top, and the plane is essentially pushed upward by the sky itself. You're not defying nature at 10,700 meters. You're using it. And somewhere above the clouds, I stopped thinking about the destination. I opened the media system on the seat in front of me, my route drawn across the map like a thin line connecting two worlds: speed, altitude, time remaining, every second updating. I could see exactly where I was, somewhere above a country I had never visited, a city below me whose name I couldn't pronounce. Then I looked out the window, and the map became real. Mountain ranges folding into each other like wrinkled paper, rivers catching light like broken glass, coastlines just like in textbooks, except I was looking down at them from 10,700 meters. There's something quietly remarkable about that moment. You're in a metal tube moving at 900 kilometers an hour, and yet everything below feels still, patient, ancient. The screen told me my connection gate in Istanbul. It tracked every kilometer. But the window told me something else. That the world is bigger than any screen can hold, and more beautiful than any data can describe. You have to move through it to understand it. We evolved to fear heights, to fear loss of control. That fear is ancient. It's real. But the engineering is extraordinary. Every flight is a symphony of trust in physics, in metallurgy, in fluid dynamics, in thousands of decisions by people you'll never meet, all aligned, all precise, all working. This is what belief in science looks like in practice. Not abstract, not theoretical. You sit inside it. You fly inside it. The next time you board a plane, remember, you're participating in one of the greatest collective acts of faith in human capability ever created. But the real miracle isn't that we overcame gravity. It's what happens when strangers trust each other at scale. The pilot trusts the mechanic trusts the engineer trusts the physicist. You trust all of them without knowing a single name. In the last episode, we talked about sacred spaces. Spaces designed to hold us in something larger than ourselves. A plane at cruising altitude, 200 strangers held aloft by collective trust, might be the most accidental sacred space we've ever built. And then, the arrivals hall, where continents collapse into an embrace, where 10,000 kilometers shrink to the length of 2 arms. Every reunion here is proof that the connection revolution worked. That flight didn't just move bodies across oceans. It kept families whole. It kept love possible across impossible distances. But flight gave us something else, something harder to name. A perspective. From 10,000 meters, the borders disappear. The lines we drew, nations, states, territories, they're not there. They were never there. From above, the Earth is one thing, one system, one home. Astronauts call it the overview effect. The shift that happens when you see the whole planet at once and realize there's no away. There's no them. There's only here and us. Flight is the closest most of us will ever come to that perspective. And every time we fly, we carry a little of it back to Earth. Up here, time works differently too. You leave one time zone, arrive in another, you chase sunsets, watch night fall in fast forward. For a few hours, you exist outside ordinary time, suspended between who you were and who you'll be when you land. Here's something I've noticed. Flying to places where I don't speak the language, don't know the customs, can't read the signs. People help everywhere, in every country, in every culture. I remember standing in Istanbul airport, one of the busiest in the world. Everyone rushing, everyone somewhere to be. I was searching for my gate, trying to find my connection to Belgrade, eyes scanning every screen. A stranger noticed. He walked over, said nothing at first, just pulled out his phone, scanned my ticket, and showed me an app that pulled up my gate instantly. In an airport of millions of footsteps, one person stopped. That's what travel does. It puts you in the path of people you would never otherwise meet. Some of them are remarkable, not famous, not extraordinary on paper, just willing. Flight made the foreign reachable, and in doing so, it proved something we hoped was true. Kindness is not local, it's human. The world is more connected than it has ever been in the history of our species. And the thing that connects us isn't just technology. It's the persistent, irrational willingness of strangers to be kind to other strangers. Flight just proved it, at scale. Flight gave us something we never had before. Not just speed, not just connection. Perspective. The perspective to see the world as it actually is. One story, still being written by all of us. But if the sky shows us how connected we are, what do we see when we look up? Not from a plane, but from inside these extraordinary buildings we've built for flight. Airports, terminals, halls of glass and steel, designed to make millions of strangers feel awe, designed by people who'll never meet the travelers passing through. Why do we build spaces like that? What does it say about what we believe, about the future? That's next